I think we're live. Check, 1, 2. Check, 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 1, 2. Is it Wednesday already? That can be either a good thing or a bad thing, depending on your perspective. Marie's here. Tommy's here. Rich is here. Dan's here. Oh, my goodness. And what did I miss? Oh, golly. So we're just warming up here in pre-show. Don't let the show background fool you. Frank B says, Tom, is it a conflict for you to sell and represent? Whoops. And that just popped right on by. Frank, I've only got access to about 5 comments at a time right here. So Jim's here. Thank you, Jim. Michael Graves is here. All right. Dean's here. Hey, Dean. Glad to have you. Long time no talk to. Maggie must be here somewhere because Tommy's saying hi to her. And I got to talk to Maggie yesterday. That was a highlight of my day. Hot dog. Oh, by the way, Maggie, Sandy says hi. So there you go. And Marie, Sandy says hi. So there you go. Audio is okay. Thank you very much. It's Thursday in New Zealand. Well, here in Fairhope, Alabama, it's still Wednesday. Got it kind of excited about our guest today. It was kind of a little bit last minute, but then again, we've been planning it for weeks. Paul Richards with Stream Geeks and PTZ Optics is here. And yeah, Frank, that's right. They did do the Stream Geeks, Paul and Tess, did an interview this morning with a state representative, or maybe it's somebody running for state representative in the state of Pennsylvania who is pro-legalizing marijuana, I think, although I didn't see the whole thing. Actually, I didn't see any of it. And, you know, Frank, if I didn't do business with people, if I did business only with people whose politics I agreed with, I wouldn't be doing business with many people. I will give her a hug, Marie, I promise. RJ's here, EmeraldCoastTV.com, and Flippy the dolphin. What's the name of the dolphin? That is a future nominee for the Streaming Mascots Alliance. Your wife is so lovely. Send me hello. I will send me hello for sure. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we got some exciting news on the X Keys front. It has been a long time coming. You know how something can simmer on the back burner for days, weeks, months, maybe longer than that. And I just figured out this morning. I sat down and figured it out in 10 minutes, but I've been sweating it for years. How to get the XK68 joystick to control multiple PTZs without using NDI. And I've done it in theory. I need to do it in actuality by having 2 actual PTZs in hand. I've got one here at the studio and one at the church, so I'll have to go steal the church one, bring it here, and do some testing. But it looks very promising. It looks very promising. Yes, indeedy. Otis is here. He's got a howdy y'all, which doesn't seem to fit Otis at all. Oh, my goodness. And Michael's here. Hello, Michael. Glad to have you. He is from Denmark. There you go. Boy, did you see the news today about what is it? I can't pronounce the airport in Amsterdam. Schiphol? But there was an attempted hijacking there. For those of you that were at IBC, 6 weeks ago and flew through that airport. There you go. Tommy says, do you use Magic? I do not. actually, Tommy, I use the other end of the scale. I use the Holy Spirit. Actually, he uses me, so, you just never know. But Michael is here. Schipol, thank you, Michael. Schipol. And yeah, that was probably pretty scary. I didn't get all the details. I just saw the headline. All right, well, let's get ready here. I'm going to give the signal to to our guest to wrap up his call. He's on a very important phone call, so I was giving him the wrap it up. The next signal is like, you're off. So let's bring it. We're still here in pre-show. Paul, have we got you live?
Hi, everybody.
There he is. Okay, very good. Very good. Gotcha. All right.
Thank you for having me, Tom.
Well, Paul, you're welcome. Do you want to get access to the chat? Have you got that up where you can see it?
So I don't actually. I have to get that on my phone, but I can do it.
Okay.
Can I have a moment? I got to get my phone.
Yeah.
All right.
We got a minute.
Because I do. Oh, it's right here. My phone's right here. Little scatterbrain. So I'm just going to go to easternshorebroadcasting.com, right?
Yep. And click the Watch Live tab. And then you can go to scroll down and you can just pop out the chat. You don't need the video.
Perfect.
Because you got the real thing. There you go.
Look at this. Watch Live. Got it. Look at that. It says you can use
You're already getting some messages in chat. Now, the chat that I
Hi,
see
guys.
is a combination of Facebook and YouTube. I think you'll just be on the YouTube chat, but that's okay because that's where most of it is.
Hi, Michael.
Are we using RTS? No. You mean RST?
Hi, Maggie.
SRT, Secure Reliable Transport. No, we are using vMix Call, which is so much easier and 100% successful. But I'm on vMix 23. Paul, are you running vMix, or are you running through a browser, or how are you connected here? You're on vMix.
Directly through vMix.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Are you using 23? Have you upgraded to the beta?
We did, and I don't know if we upgraded to the beta, but we upgraded our vMix in the latest update, and it fixed our vMix social. We were having some issues with Facebook, but that's all fixed now.
There you go. Yeah, there wasn't some glitches. Boy, you had to go in the back door to get into Facebook. That was a trip. And Chris is watching from Belize. Chris, I was in Belize 40 years ago. It was lovely. Went to Kikaka and just had a ball. That's a wonderful country. And Rick is here. Rick came to visit us here in the studios here in Fairhope, Alabama, a couple of weeks ago. That was a treat. Glad to have you
on
board.
Rick. Hi, Richard.
So Paul is going to talk to us a little bit about the Stream Geeks Summit, and I think it's about time. Shall we get started?
Let's do it.
He's like, whatever. Okay. All right, so I'm going to mute you for just a minute. We'll do the intro, and then, oh, golly, you know what? I left my notes. Hang on a second. Let me go get my notes. Paul, amuse the audience, please.
One thing I did want to address that Tom mentioned, that we had a senator on our channel today, and I want to make it clear, and I'll say this during the show, that we do not officially support any views of any politicians, especially for legalizing marijuana. So that was his agenda. Sometimes you have to make some sacrifices to get a state senator on your show, but that was really fun, and we're really glad that we did it.
All right, we are back here and about ready. All right. Oh, Maria's having stupid problems. Maria, you have come to the right place. All right, here we go. Well, hello and welcome. I'm Tom Sinclair, and you have come to Streaming Idiots. That's right, you've arrived at the end of the internet. You can't go anywhere else but here now that you are here. Delighted to have you with us today. And I've got a very special guest, Paul Richards with Stream Geeks. I'm going to introduce in just a second. But because there's something really exciting coming up Friday, day after tomorrow. Yeah, it's going to be really cool. And so we'll spend some time chatting with Paul about that. But we've got a couple of announcements. Probably the biggest news, the biggest news of the day, is that Streaming Idiots has now topped 3,000 people in our Facebook group. That's right, the group that Marie and John started, what was it, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, has just gone bonkers. And we've now got 3,000, well, maybe somebody's dropped off, but last time I checked, we had 3,002 members of our Streaming Idiots group. You say, wait, Tom, I'm not in the Streaming Idiots group. You're not. Go to Facebook, do a Facebook search for Streaming Idiots, and you'll find the group. And by all means, we'd like to have you in it. Now, I will tell you, we ask for your email address, number one, so that we can send you all sorts of solicitations. But number two, because, we kind of want to hold you accountable. The internet is full of a lot of anonymous folks that would like to, I don't know what they'd like to do. I don't care. But if your intentions are not pure, holy, and honest, you can't get in our group. So there. So anyway, 3,000, it's really great, and my hat's off to all 3,000 of you that have to put up with this show every week. But nevertheless, it's a great community of folks that are very willing to help each other, and I appreciate it. Plus, we have this really cool meetup at NAB in Las Vegas in April, and so hopefully, if you're heading out that way for the NAB show, you can be part of the Streaming Idiots meetup. It will be, I think, our 4th annual meetup. It's really cool. Next week on the Streaming Idiots show, Dave Edwards and I will be doing a demonstration of the vMix 23 key feature SRT, Secure Reliable Transport. That is the ability to transport video without losing a frame of video, having it being perfectly in sync and getting 100% from point A to point B through a secure, reliable transport mechanism, which is what SRT is all about. So we'll have more about that. And then coming up in 2 weeks, we'll be talking about, and it's just out of reach, I can't get it right here, but anyway, our really cool X Keys controller from PI Engineering, the XK68 joystick. Prior to this morning, I didn't know of a way that you could control more than one PTZ with that little rascal. And I've been pondering it for years. I was saying that in pre-show. I really have been thinking about that for years. How would you do it? In fact, the folks at PI Engineering figured out how to do it using NDI, but just this morning, it came to me in a flash, that's right, of how to do it. So we'll be talking about that in a couple of weeks. And I've already got an application at a big install down in Florida where we'll be using several of these. So that's going to be it's going to be a ton of fun. That's right. So that's the story. But the big story is the story that's coming up in 2 days. In 2 days, we have, let me find the right button here to push. There we go. We have the Stream Geeks Summit coming to us from some really swanky hotel in downtown New York City. Paul, welcome. Tell us all about it.
Hi, Tom. Hi, everybody who's watching online. I'm so excited to be here today and glad to be on the show, Tom. It's funny, Tom has seen the whole start of Stream Geeks and, Tessa's first live stream. Tessa's my co-host here. Tom even kind of scared her on her very first live stream and played some funny jokes on her, which some people can remember. But together, Tess and I have started a little group called the Stream Geeks, and we've gone from a little nook in our conference room that we had to share with other folks in our business that we had to book out for 1 hour at a time to now, 4 years later, today we actually interviewed a real Pennsylvania senator on our show. So it's incredible what live streaming can do if you're willing to jump in and get involved.
Well, yeah, it's a whole new world. It's a whole new world of worlds, Paul. I mean, everybody that has an interest can be involved in live streaming. You don't have to be a geek. You don't have to be a techno nerd. You just have to have an interest in a subject and want to share that subject with a greater audience. And suddenly, live streaming is for you. Yeah. So tell us more about the summit. Now, this is the summit that you guys used a Kickstarter on way back in the summertime and had like 40 or 50 people sign on. You raised over $11,000 to get this thing off the ground. Tell me about it. Pretend like I don't know anything about it.
Sure. So, and Tom, it's a little bit inspired by the Streaming Idiots meetup in NAB, which I think is so much fun. And, we saw that meetup, Tom, from the very first year when there was, yep, I'm going to say 25 people, then there was 50, then there was 200, right? And we couldn't, everyone's afraid to host it now because you're just bringing such a motley crew of streaming idiots that are coming together. And, we've been throwing small events and seeing how quickly everything grows and how important it is to bring real people together into a room. And we thought, all right, New York City, the home of broadcast and media, really the capital of the world when it comes to broadcasting news. And we said, what if we plant a flag down and we say, we want to go in Manhattan, one of the most expensive places in the world, but also one of the most populated places and most relevant to streaming media. And yes, it's going to be super expensive. So what if we did a Kickstarter where if it fails and nobody wants to do this thing, then it fails. But if we can raise enough money to rent out a space, we can at least start there. And if it does prove to be successful on Kickstarter, we have one of the first streaming conferences that's 100% funded by the community. And that was kind of the approach. Is the community big enough, passionate enough to come together to kick this thing off? And then from there, it has spooled into something that is almost sold out. I think there's 2 tickets left, but the actual CNN, Fox, 10 different media outlets are actually attending in a press room to cover this event, and it's exciting. I mean, people are really excited about it.
Paul, that's awesome. That's awesome. Now, tell us a little bit about the lineup of speakers, because you've got some pretty prominent names on there. Of course, there's one major omission, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, Tom, I really wanted to have you as a speaker. You were one of my first guests that I introduced, but we actually have 12 sponsors, Amazon actually being one of them. And we have speakers from Microsoft. Our keynote speaker, Jeffrey Colon, is actually our keynote speaker. He's talking about how live streaming will actually change the way the normal people see the world today, because it'll be so easy to transport yourself into all of these live views all around the world. And his keynote is something that I really think everyone should watch, because the more I think about this, Tom, and I know we've talked about this in the past, this bell curve of how early of an adoption stage is it? And Facebook Live changed the game. YouTube changed the game. Esports is changing the game. But it's still, I think, really early days when you think about how big radio and television were in their heydays. I think that if you look at live streaming, it's incredible, and we could talk about it. But our keynote speech, anyway, is Jeffrey Colon. He'll be actually live streaming from the showroom floor directly on LinkedIn on Microsoft's channel. And if you think about it, I'm more excited to live stream on LinkedIn using Microsoft's channel than I would be to be on CNN. I'm not even kidding, because that's how powerful live streaming is. To be live on a platform like that, that's direct to consumers as opposed to going through the traditional outlets of media.
That's right. That's cool. So Microsoft, Amazon. Mm-hmm. I mean, if we're going to throw names around, let's throw names around. Holy cow. LinkedIn. And then you've got some streaming idiots in this group. I went through the list. Of speakers.
Yeah, I should mention.
You've got, I mean, there's you, and there's Tess, and there's John Mahoney from John has got the Streaming Alchemy show that is a really good show. If you haven't seen it, it's on Friday afternoons. You've got PTZ Optics own Matt Davis. I assume Matt's still going to be speaking. You've got Michael Luttermoser from PTZ Optics. You've got Ryan Brenneman with the name of his outfit.
Allegheny Media.
Allegheny Media, that's it. You've got Daryl Spangler from Mobile Video Devices and that new thing he's doing called Stream Gear that he's going to be announcing on
He's got
Friday.
a new company called Stream Gear. Tomorrow, there will be a press release announcing a brand new product he's been working on for 2.5 years, and he's going to release it at the Stream Geeks Summit.
All right. That's so cool. And then Rudy Ellis with Switchboard. Rudy was a guest on this show a while back. And then Cliff Sobel from Streamcast Network. I mean, that's a pretty good start right there. And then of course, you had to fill in the gaps with Microsoft and Amazon and people from LinkedIn and those kind of folks. I understand how that goes. So are you gonna be speaking, or are you just coordinating?
Well, I'm going to make me and Tess are going to go up and tell in 15 minutes our story to hopefully kind of set the stage for, hey, we had to talk to our company and say, will you please let us do this? And, beg for a little corner of a conference room 6 years ago. And then we have pictures along the way. And I'm going to say, here's 2 days ago, we live streamed Pennsylvania Senator. Really quickly, Tom, just wanted to say that we do not support legalization of marijuana or any political candidate views. I meant to have a disclaimer at the bottom that I was going to blink the whole time. We do not support the legalization of marijuana. We do not, support any political things. It happened so fast, I forgot to show that. But it does say it in all of our videos as a disclaimer that we don't support any political agendas of the senator. But I do think with the 2020 election, specifically, an election day in November, live streaming is going to play a very important role in the distribution of authentic media that's so important in politics.
Yeah, I agree with
Sorry
that.
to sidetrack you there. I just wanted to say we do not
that
support
came up in the pre-show. They were asking about, is PTZ Optics all of a sudden, are they going to start taking off Fridays all day? To support this new legislation. So I was a little worried, but I was delighted to hear that it was just an error of omission, that you had not included that disclaimer. And, I'll make a disclaimer about Eastern Shore Broadcasting and Streaming Idiots. We're idiots. We're liable to do anything. So, okay. All right. So you're going to tell your story. You and Tess are going to tell your story. That's going to be a great story. What is this going to be the very first thing that starts off the day?
Yeah. So at 8:45, we're going to tell our story for 15 minutes and try to set the stage. And then at 9 a.m., a great panelist, one of my most exciting ones with Aubrey Russell from LiveX. We have Claudia Barberio from LiveU, an entire panel of Facebook Live guests. Then we'll talk about business opportunities in live streaming, which I'll be moderating that panel, so I will get a chance to speak with our friend Cliff Sobel on that panel.
Good.
At 11, excuse me, at 11 o'clock, we'll be talking about esports. Now, that will be a very interesting portion of the show because, sorry, Tom,
it's all right.
In my throat there.
You need
I went
lemonade.
to TwitchCon in San Diego. I do need some lemonade. I went to TwitchCon in San Diego, and I know Tim Vandenberg was there the year before, and it was such perfect timing. I met with a bunch of different people, and they said, hey, you have this conference in New York City. Can we do and they saw what I was doing with broadcast clubs. And I've been working with a lot of school broadcast clubs, and I know you have too. And even more, fast growing in schools than broadcast clubs are esports clubs, right? They're just exploding everywhere. But the issue is that these students, it's very hard to become a professional video gamer. I mean, it's so hard, way harder than regular sports. But many of these kids are very interested in technology, and they have great aptitude for live streaming technology. So we're actually going to have a full student-run broadcast for the esports tournament. So in the backdrop of our esports stage and panel, we'll have a 3-on-3 esports tournament and a complete student-run production producing the broadcast of the esports panel.
Oh my goodness. That's cool. That is very, very cool. So yeah, I can tell this whole thing's got you so stressed out that you're just your body is falling apart. No. So, and then is the keynote at lunchtime, or is that later in the day?
So everyone gets a chance to have lunch, and there's workshops all throughout the day. And then at 1:00, we have a panel on live streaming monetization. And I think that's a really important one for content creators and shows. Yep. LiveX has a show called Cheesehead TV for Packers. Aaron Nagler is going to be on that panel along with a great guest of host there. And then at 2:00 is going to be the Tech Game Changers. And New Tech will be on that panel along with Matt Davis and a bunch of different people there. And then finally, the keynote will be at 3:00. And I just really think that's going to be an inspirational look at, where this thing's going to head. And I'm obviously trying to point my ship in that direction, pulling the sails, because sometimes it can feel like everything's coming from every direction. But sure. I do think that there is a prevailing wind, if you will. And if you think of life as a sailboat and there's a prevailing wind, we want to, point our ship in the right direction. And sometimes it takes great minds to figure out, which way it's headed. And that was the whole point of this, is to bring together all the best minds in live streaming. I tried to send you the invite, Tom, but I reached out to everybody I could. And I think we got almost 200 people that are going to be coming to this in-person summit.
That's awesome. Now, I understand that you're going to be live streaming the entire event. How? I can't be there. It's my grandson's birthday Friday. I've got to be in St. Petersburg, Florida in person. I can't send a virtual image. But I'm hoping that I can watch some of this. I can slip out and watch some of this. How can I go watch?
Well, one of the great things about live streaming is the fact that anyone can see it, especially with social media. So we really wanted everyone to have access to this. So it's going to be live on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn for free all day long.
And that's going to be on the Stream Geeks group on Facebook and the PTZ Optics
Yeah, it will
group?
definitely be shared there.
Okay.
We're going to try to do as much cross-posting and sharing as we can. You can sign up for a free virtual ticket at streamgeeks.us/summit, and that'll be a great way to get the notification via email if you'd like.
I just did that this morning. Yeah, I just wasn't sure if I got lost and didn't have my email where I could go to watch. But if I could go to Facebook, I can watch. Now, are you going to embed any one of those streams on the streamgeeks.us/summit page?
That's a great idea, Tom. And I'm not going to lie, I didn't even think of that. Yes, I will do that very soon.
Okay. Well, good. The YouTube might be the easiest one to do because you don't have to be a member of anything in order to do the YouTube. Plus, you can pump out, 1080, 60. Tell me about the background. Who's going to be the TD? Who is Michael going to do this, or do you have some guys from LiveX helping out?
Actually, John Mahoney from the Streaming Alchemy Show has, agreed to live stream this event with his son, Matt. And so Matt and John Mahoney will be streaming this event with a TriCaster TC1, which I've never used
heard
before.
Of one of those before. Yeah.
It's a really cool video production
I'll have to keep my
system.
eye out for it. Yeah.
Uh, and of course, it works perfectly with NDI, and so we have all of our NDI cameras in place.
How many cameras?
We have there's 8 cameras.
Good.
So there's three on the stage, left, right, and center, so that they can get some close-ups and some wide shots. There's 2 in the back, and those are for the esports tournaments, but also since they're pan tilt zoom, they can do the crowd. Okay. And then there's 1 on a play-by-play announcer broadcast area that is used for the broadcasters during the esports stream.
Right.
And part of one of my goals for this whole event was to show conference holders how easy it is to live stream a conference and how valuable it can be to sell virtual tickets and promote your event. I think it's very similar to, churches that live stream. Sometimes there's a fear that folks won't come into church because they can just watch it from home. And I think there's a definite fear of that with conferences.
Yes, it is.
And that is maybe a little more understandable than a regular Sunday service, because some of that content is so educational and that's what people are paying for. But there's so many avenues for conferences to monetize their events. In 2017, I went to Vid Summit and helped them live stream their first ever live stream, and they made hundreds of thousands of dollars in one day. It was really incredible. They were charging $300 per virtual ticket, selling thousands of these tickets online to people who would never fly out to Los Angeles.
Sure.
And there's a lot of different ways to monetize it. For us, we're live streaming it for free because the education is what we believe in, and we're trying to spread the message to as many people as possible. That's sometimes the goal of a conference, but other times it's to make as much money as possible. So obviously we could charge $1 or $10 or $100 for virtual access. In our case, we actually are selling $50 premium tickets, which include all of the recorded workshops in the workshop rooms, along with synopsises from each recording of the panels. So there's different ways to monetize live streaming. And the fact that we've pulled off this conference and partially due to the live stream shows that it's not that hard as people think.
All right, so you just mentioned something that piqued my interest. So even though I can't come, and even if I came, I could only attend one workshop at a time, but I can get access to all of the workshops for $50. Where do I sign up?
And it's available right on Eventbrite. You can go to streamgeeks.us/summit, and there's a link to get tickets. If you want to come in person, I believe there's 1 or 2 tickets left, but we literally can't fit anyone past that number. It's really I really feel good that we've literally only got 1 ticket left, because I'm sure there's a straggler out there. But
all right, so let me make sure we got this straight. So if I want to watch, or if I want to pay for video on demand access to some of these events, I've got to go to the ticket tab and click the ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. It takes me a little while sometimes to get those things together, and I know Tommy and John and some of those out there are a little slower than I am, so we got to make sure that we get it straight so everybody.
And full disclosure, Tom, as you know, Stream Geeks is a brand that we use to educate the world about live streaming, and clearly we have an ulterior, motive, if you will. One is to show conferences how to live stream, and then the other, excuse me, another main one is to put on an esports tournament, and then again show the world how to put on an esports tournament, how to live stream it, what are the best practices. So we're going to come out of this with some really great experience on live streaming conferences. As you know, there's conferences going on every single day in every major city in the world. And I only think 1% of them maybe are live streaming. So this is going to happen fast, Tom. As you've seen, it's becoming more and more affordable, more and more powerful. And so we're just trying to get out on the forefront of this and provide folks with the education and the understanding and the warm and fuzzy feeling that they can be empowered to do this type of thing by showing what they can do.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. All right, so yeah, but you say full disclosure. The even fuller disclosure is that Stream Geeks is an outlet of PTZ Optics, which sells cameras, and you can't do any of this without really cool, high quality cameras. And Eastern Shore Broadcasting, which is the kind of the sponsor down there of Streaming Idiots, is a PTZ Optics reseller, and we sell those suckers all the time. They're amazing. They just fly off the shelves. And so if you're interested in PTZ Optics cameras, you can go to ptzoptics.com and find out lots of info there. But when you're ready to buy them, you can go to easternshorebroadcasting.com, and we will get them out to you toot sweet. In fact, I think we've got a half a dozen or so on this X-Keys project I was talking about earlier. So that'll be a fun. We'll try to do a case study of some kind on that. Paul, the number of case studies that I've got stacked up that I want to do, from the dolphin tank to the school, to the church, to this clubhouse project I'm working on. You can't write them fast enough. In this case, I haven't written any of them, but that's a story for a different day. All right, so this program starts at 8:45 Eastern Time, Friday morning, and hopefully there will be a YouTube or something like that embed at streamgeeks.us/summit, but otherwise you can get it on Facebook. And I guess you have a PTZ Optics YouTube page, or is it a Stream Geeks YouTube page? If somebody were searching about,
I believe it'll be on Stream Geeks. And thank you so much for the idea on the embed. I think that putting it right on the homepage is the best idea. So I'm going to do that right away, Tom.
Yeah,
you always come up with like one or two great ideas.
A chat where you could have some interaction with your viewers. Oh, wait, we're doing that right now. Yeah. Tommy's out there. Tommy's like, what is Tommy saying? He says, "I love you, Tom S." Okay, well, that's always nice to see, Tommy. But I'm already taken. Happily taken.
Oh, there was one more thing I wanted to show you, Tom. I brought this out. This is just something a little small that I'm going to be bringing to the summit. Behind me, I actually have a full arcade cabinet. But this is what I call a student camera operator station. And it's essentially a bar top arcade. If you've ever seen these, like a little arcade cabinet for bar top. It's got a little HDMI monitor in it, and then I put a little Intel NUC in here, and I just run NDI Studio Monitor. And then I just plug in a little, here's one here, Xbox controller, and this becomes an NDI camera operation station for a student. And part of the goal, and I've also built one into this, I've been working with Stephen Haywood, and we built one into an arcade cabinet too, which we're going to be showing off sometime soon. But the goal here is to really connect with students who are interested in video gaming, because I don't know if you've read the news, but it's just incredible the number of just kids under 20 who are playing video games. And we're trying to say, hey, you like video games, you might like video production, you might like the broadcast industry, you might like playing with technology that can help live stream an esports tournament. So this is kind of one step in that direction. I did want to bring an entire arcade cabinet, but our truck is just too full of other gear. But it's cool. You can control a PTZ camera with an Xbox controller. You give that to a student in an elementary school, at a high school level, at a college level. They know how to use this. I guarantee it. And it just makes it fun for them. So part of this is making things fun, connecting with the youth, showing how live streaming has impacted esports and this actually $150 billion industry that has absolutely exploded over the past 5 years.
It's incredible. The sky's the limit. Not even that. I mean, it used to be you say the sky's the limit. Now that it's like, okay, the galaxy's the limit. Holy cow. Go figure. Well, I'm really excited for you guys. I wish you all of the best on Friday, especially John Mahoney and his son, that they have no glitches, that it goes off flawlessly. That's what we always want, isn't it? And I look forward to watching and maybe chatting with some of the other folks that are watching at the same time. That can be when you're ready for Stream Geeks Summit 2, to really engage that remote audience through chat, and to have some folks on your end, some moderators that are bringing things in, maybe even to the point of bringing some of the chat comments into the sessions, through something like vMix Social or something like that, where you can put them up on an LED wall, and have a great way to tie in the local with the virtual, and really try to make that as seamless as possible. I know when I'm in a live event and something like that comes in from the outside, I really get a sense that it's much bigger than just me and the other 100 people in the room. When I'm on the outside looking in, I have a tendency to feel isolated because it's just me. But if there's a chat going on, I'm part of a community. And if it ties into the people that are physically present in this event, wow, that's even a greater bonus. So everything you guys do this year, you've got lots of cool stuff you can add to it to the next year, and I hope to be a part of it when that time comes. Well, Paul, thank you so much for taking time. I know you've got 1,001 details, and you are such a detail-oriented person that I know you've got a checklist a mile long of things that you've got to go square away before you leave town. I guess you guys would be going up tomorrow, and unpacking and setting up. And if somebody wants your last ticket, they can go to streamgeeks.us/summit, and there's a little ticket tab right up at the top, and you can buy that ticket, or you can get some virtual tickets for the video on demand. Great. We'll go break a leg, and we'll be wishing you all the best.
Thank you so much for having me, Tom. We'll get you there next year, I promise.
All right. Well, folks, thanks so much for watching. We're going to move into the post show now, and so stick around. We'll be right back. Yep. And we're out. We're done. Paul, if you're still around, you're welcome to come back and chat with us. We'll leave his chair open there for a few minutes in case he decides to come back. Really, it's going to be interesting. Really going to be interesting. I'm hoping, and I'll mention this to Paul. Hey, Cliff's here. Cliff's going to be on the show on Friday. Probably need to go watch. Cliff, tell us what time you're on. Do you know? I think Paul said you were on the business part of it that was late morning. I haven't seen a schedule yet, but it will be interesting to see. We talked about the live stream, and I guess all of this is going to be available video on demand. We'll try to get Paul back into that chair here in just a second, find out. But it's going to be pretty cool. That's Friday morning, starting at 8:45. You probably want to get there a little early, and that's Eastern time. So that's 7:45 for those of us in the Central Time Zone. Tommy, that's you and me. 7:45, 6:45, 5:45. Rich, for all you and Ken and you wild folks out there on the West Coast. Holy cow! Now Cliff says that he's going to be on at 10 a.m., which is 9 a.m. my time. Rich and Ken, that's 7 a.m. your time. So if you want to watch Cliff live, you got to get up. Apparently, there's not going to be any kind of way to get messages to Cliff by social media. But if you want his phone number, we can all send him text messages during his time on the stage. That's going to be really fun. Yeah, it really has been interesting to watch Paul and then Tess and then Michael, all these stream geeks, as they've grown, like all of us, they've grown up, they've made rookie mistakes, call them idiot mistakes, maybe. And it's midnight in Europe. Thank you, Michael. That's right. It's not, is it midnight in Europe? Yeah, I guess it would be. No. 10 a.m. in the morning is like 2 in the afternoon in Europe. Or, no, 10 in the morning Central would be, it's add 6 hours, so it's like 4 in the afternoon. You've got your clock going back. You almost caught me on that one, though. So you want to tune in to Cliff at 10, which is 9 Central Time. But it's been fun to watch them grow up, and fun to watch them make mistakes, and fun to watch them learn from their mistakes and not make the same mistake more than a dozen times. And so this Stream Geeks Summit, it's the first time out of the box. It's a team that's been brought together to produce this thing that's probably never worked together before as a team. So there are lots of moving parts, and there are lots of moving parts that are not necessarily familiar with each other. So we can expect there might be a couple of glitches during the course of the day. We hope one of those glitches is not losing the live stream, because it's going to be so much fun to watch it live. So this is streamgeeks.us. It's not .com. Now it's streamgeeks.us/summit. And the promise is that there'll be a video embed on that page, maybe even with a chat. And then, of course, there's the comments that you can add on Facebook and YouTube directly. So we will, as we find these on Friday morning, we'll attempt to share them into the Facebook Streaming Idiots group. So you can go to the Streaming Idiots group and find some of these places where you can get where you can watch the live stream and maybe even comment. Not that they're going to see a comment, but we can talk amongst ourselves. So that's Friday, day after tomorrow. I'm going to be on the road tomorrow, but I'll be out and about, and that's the beauty. I don't have it right here, but that's the beauty. You can watch this stuff on your phone. It's going to be easy to participate as a viewer. Yeah, there you go. Speaking of easy to participate, there's a live shot from the Streaming Idiots desk, where we can see vMix running on the left side, and then probably that looks like the Streaming Idiots group in the center monitor, and then the right side is probably the YouTube feed that we were monitoring as we got it started up. So we'll go back to that. Ron Wallace is here. Hello, Ron. Ron does a great sports broadcast just up the road here in Daphne, Alabama. Unfortunately, when Tim was here, Ron was doing a broadcast that night when we had the meetup and couldn't make it. So next time. Tommy is saying something to Marie about tasting a product. No telling. No telling. Anyway, so there we go with that. So next week is vMix SRT with Dave Edwards. That's going to be very interesting, very educational. We'll talk about SRT and the types of uses for it. It probably, at least in its intended design, it's a point-to-point one-way, not an interactive medium. It's not like vMix Call, where you want as little latency as possible. You noticed on occasion, Paul would appear to be pausing to ponder something I might have said. Eric's here. Hey, Eric, good to see you. Well, actually, I can't see you, but I can tell you're here. Anyway, I can sense your presence. SRT is not a two-way communication mechanism. In fact, latency, they don't care about latency. What they want to do is they want to increase the latency. Thank you, Michael. Glad to know that the Amsterdam airport alarm was a false alarm about potential hijacking. So don't worry about that. Thank you for updating us on that. SRT, the idea is that we don't want to reduce latency as much as possible. We want to set a fixed latency so that if we're streaming video and we drop a frame, not that we drop a frame, but that the transmission of the video loses a frame, loses a packet that has audio and video in it. There's enough time to go back, run back, and grab that packet that's missing, and then run back and put it back in place before it arrives at the other end, or to put it in place at the other end while it's buffering in that latency. So you might have an SRT. I think when we were in Amsterdam at IBC, and Martin Sinclair of vMix had set up SRT back to his office in Australia. That was like literally halfway around the world. The latency was set for 500 milliseconds, a half a second. And so that was a absolute positively certain amount of latency that would go on the entire time. So there wasn't an effort to reduce that latency so that we could do two-way communications, because SRT is not two-way communications. The idea is that if we're using a satellite for communications, or we're using some sort of leased access line for some sort of special internet line that we're paying for, using SRT, we can now make that transport on public internet. And public internet's going to be bouncing all over the place and having all those hops. And the idea will be that it can go through all those hops with a fixed amount of latency, and every packet's going to end up on the other end. Eric is saying that they used SRT a couple of weeks ago to send the live feed of their game to ESPN. It didn't really matter that there was delay in that. What really mattered is that it was absolutely pristine video. And so, Michael Graves is saying SRT borrows some ideas from WebRTC, but WebRTC is fundamentally about real time, which there is no such thing as real time, because by the time I say it, it's not real time until you hear it for you, but it was real time for me. Anyway, you get the idea. So there was a little bit of latency in Paul's and my conversation. In vMix Call, there's actually some stats you can look up, and the stats would tell you what the latency was for the video, what the latency was from the audio, and sometimes they're not the same. Sometimes they can get out of sync a little bit. I meant to ask Martin about that when I was at IBC. I'll ask him again sometime if there's a way to lock those two together somehow. But so two similar types of protocols, but with two very different intended uses, and probably one would not be used as the other in that sense. So we'll be doing an SRT demo next week. And you may say, oh, well, Tom, I can't think of a way that I would use SRT. Well, you can't think of a way yet, but you might end up thinking of a way at some point. I mean, what if, you were doing let's say you're doing a high school football game. You've got 3 cameras, and you're going to lug all your equipment up to the press box and set it all up. What if you could just plug the cameras into internet, and the cameras could be sent over the camera video, and not even the announcement, but the camera video could be sent over SRT back to your studio, and you could live switch the game there, and the announcers could be there with you in your studio watching the live feed come in and commenting on it as if they were live at the game. You could have a mic out at the game to pick up the ambient audio, and you could do it all from your air-conditioned or heated studio as opposed to a drafty press box. So Marie's got to run. We'll see you next week, Marie. Always a pleasure to have you. So I think there's going to be some great use cases for SRT that people haven't discovered yet, that they will say, I've now got this new tool in my toolbox. I've got this new Lego in my Lego set. What can I do with it? And in order to be able to get to the point where you can say, what can I do with it? You have to know how it works. That's why we're going to do the demo next week. So even if you don't think that you're going to ever possibly use it, you know, how many times have I made that mistake? I'll never need to know math. I'll never need to know history. Never need to know a foreign language. Yeah, have I regretted all that? Absolutely. So don't live in regret. Don't be an idiot's idiot. And then coming up in 2 weeks, we'll be doing the help. I'm going to reach for it now. I don't think Paul's coming back. We're going to take away his chair, and we're going to mute his mic. So this is the PTZ optics, not the PTZ optics. I'm sorry, too many initials. It's the X keys XK68 joystick. Now 68 means it's got 68 keys. So these keys can be configured however you want. They actually have a key set that I have to get. Maggie, if you're still watching, I'm going to have to get you to send me one. A PTZ key set. And the PTZ key set, I think, has maybe 4 keys over here that are like PTZ 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the idea is that you can press the button, and that's going to activate the joystick for that PTZ. Well, up until today that I know of, that you couldn't. The only way you could do that was with an NDI app that's in alpha, somewhere out there in the blogosphere. And so that meant all your cameras had to be NDI. It couldn't work with a conventional PTZ camera. Well, if you can get a PTZ camera into vMix and you can control it through vMix, then you can control it with this joystick controller now. So if you'd like more information about that, you can wait 2 weeks and watch the show, or you can send me an email and I'll tell you what I know about it. It's not completely finished yet, but it's ready for prime time. I mean, it's almost ready for prime time. And it doesn't require anything other than the things that you would normally have. If you had vMix, you would need a vMix license that had the ability to have PTZ control, which means vMix Pro or 4K. If you had PTZ cameras, they would have to be able to be controlled by vMix. I mean, it would be that simple because vMix is the secret sauce that holds it all together. And then we use a series of shortcuts to enable and disable the joystick controller. And we'll tell you more about that when the time comes. It's going to be fun. And in fact, we'll have to test this. I know vMix has got the ability to do up, down, right, left, but also like upper right and upper left and lower right and lower left. So the diagonals too. So conceivably you could make the camera turn in circles, or at least go around in circles. We'll have to see how smoothly that works. And then the key, of course, over here is to be able to change cameras so that if you're changing to camera 1, now all of a sudden the joystick is going to operate camera 1, changing to camera 3, the joystick is going to operate camera 3. And it would be completely configurable however you wanted it, to have, you know, a row of presets for camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, camera 4, and those presets would be active all the time, regardless of what state the joystick controller was in. So there we go. Ron's going to be at South Alabama doing a live radio broadcast. We'll be live on Facebook webcam. Any suggestions or tips? I don't think I can stream the actual game because it's on ESPN. No, I don't think you can. But it would be very cool if you were in a situation where where the camera on you showed some of the crowd behind you and maybe just a little smidgen of the field, and of course had some of the ambient noise there. That would be a lot of fun. Love to see it. Nick says I might need to reconsider my lack of X keys. Well, and here's, this is, I'm a reseller for X keys, okay? So this is a sales pitch. I'll just warn you up front. But even though it's a sales pitch, just because it has a joystick doesn't mean it can't be used for other things. It's the same footprint. Let me see if I can get it up here, as my XK80. XK80 minus 12 has, minus 12 for the joystick. So it's the same heavy-duty metal container with nice rubber sides, so it's fairly durable. And you could use it as your regular controller when you weren't using it. Do you have to put your finger up when you control the X keys? I mean the PTZ, the X keys. I had it right the first time. The X keys are made in Michigan. That's right, Ed. The other thing that's interesting is that this same format of PTZ control with the X keys joystick will work with vMix virtual PTZ as well as an actual PTZ. So there are just all sorts of cool things coming down the pike there with the folks at X Keys. Just my hat tip to them for making such really cool products that are very durable. I mean, I just dropped my, don't tell anybody. Don't tell Paul. I dropped my XK80 right before the show, and a button came off. Actually, two buttons, and I wasn't sure which was which. So finally, I got the right one in the right place. Emily Post would say, keep your pinky up. Okay, got it. There we go. Can the joysticks be relocated to another area of the pad? Well, that's a good question. It doesn't feel like it. I bet it's screwed in somehow. Let's see. All right, am I back? Gee whiz. That's embarrassing. Seems to be up again. It's not up again. It's not down again. It was just cut off when I, see, that's why when you demonstrate a product, it should not be a product that you're using as part of your production. Oh my gosh. So there we go. Yep. So that's the, this is the X Keys 80, and whatever you do, don't hit this button marked STM right there, because that, come back to the screen, we can hear your keyboard. Yep, look the wrong way, LOL, now at live, and he's gone. Ha ha ha. All right, so am I here or not? Is this really me here? Am I here? It's okay, says Michael. Okay, thank you, Michael. That's what I needed to know. I should be careful with what I play with. And Dan says it really, really works. It does. It really works. It works. What would be interesting to do is to take the XK80, turn it upside down, and drop it, and see what happens. Shall we try that? We could try that. This could be like one of these idiot shows on TV where people do crazy things like that for money. You are here. All right. Thank you. You appear to be here. It's a live demo. Okay. We won't do that. We won't do that. Streaming roulette. There you go. Yeah, there goes your warranty. Well, I can't have a warranty on this one, Dan. Yeah, I'll have to tell you that story later. It's never, Jacob's here. It's never really live since that was before. That's right. See, yeah, by the time you see me live, it's already happened. Okay. Well, I'd love to hang out with you guys, but I've got some things I need to do, like take care of. Actually, I've got to rework a quote that includes this one for a client. Actually, it's going to include a couple of these, actually 3 of these. Eric said, like I said earlier, the NFL used SRT for the game in London for replays. And like I said earlier, that's good. Yep. Anyway, this won't do SRT. Actually, it probably would do SRT if you had some shortcuts for it. But we'll be working on this guy next week to get him programmed and configurable to handle. I guess conceivably he could handle as many PTZ cameras as could attach to your PZ. So if you had 8 PTZ cameras, it could switch between all 8. I'm thinking we've got. It would have been nice, Dan, if this controller were maybe down in the bottom corner. Because putting it in the middle means that these keys below it, can accidentally be pressed by your hand. Anyway, it'll be interesting. It'll be fun. The use case for the one that I'm working on right now is going to be for volunteers that operate it. So the idea is to make it as easy to operate as possible by having buttons that are labeled, push me if you want to do this. Okay. Dan says we've got a warehouse full of them. No. Well, let's see if we can't take care of some of them. Michael says, I look forward to the next show with SRT, but could you find cheaper alternatives to bonding than LiveView and Avi West? Yeah, I'm not kind of a bonding guy. Yeah. Eric says, put some blanks below the joystick. Eric, I want to use all 68 of my keys. I paid for them. I want to use them. But you're right. Yeah, it would do that. Dan said it was originally designed for microscope control. Get out. That is so cool. Well, we are definitely repurposing it. And if there's one thing I love to do, it's to repurpose things. And the fact that it was originally used for microscope control makes my story with it even better when the time comes. All right. All right, folks. Going to sign off now. Y'all have a great rest of week. Don't forget Friday, the Stream Geeks Summit, streamgeeks.us/summit. You can watch it live there, and I'll be watching with you. But we're going to let the show run out, and I appreciate you, and I will catch you next time.